Hey everyone, welcome back to another Fire Friday. I am here with someone that is extremely special to me, Mr. Kevin Kendrick. If you haven't seen us on social media lately, I don't know, you must be living under a rock because we have been traveling the world together. We've been in Puerto Rico together, we've been in Cabo together, we've been having a lot of fun in Orlando together.
Yeah.
And I think we just celebrated on Facebook, I saw 1 year anniversary of our first double date. And here you are today now on Fire Friday. And the reason I think it's just so aligned is because you are aligned with what Fire Friday represents. Someone who is an expert in real estate, but most importantly, has a beautiful story, an inspiration, who just loves to give back. So welcome, Kevin, to Fire Friday.
Oh, well, thank you. I've watched so many of these, and I'm like, man, I wonder what one day if all those double dates, if Veronica get to the bottom of the list, and she'll invite me on. So I'm excited.
Dude, I have a lot of awesome friends, but every time I have someone on, it's like they're right on time, right on purpose. And it doesn't, earlier when we were getting ready to start, right, it doesn't have to feel scripted. This is just so natural for us because we know enough about each other's business and lives and, what you do day in and day out, that it's very organic and natural for us to have a conversation. So I think you're right on time as to when you needed to be on here. And you're always just such a like breath of fresh air. Like talking to Kevin Kendrick, I always feel like I leave a better person because you're just so kind. And actually, I just posted some of the pictures from Cabo, and there's this one shot of you. It's like you're leaning in and you have this glow and you're like mesmerized with a smile as you're kind of listening to whoever you were listening to. And I was like, wow, Kevin Kendrick, if I can summarize what that trip was all about, your picture said it all. It was just so impactful. So I don't know. Thanks for playing along, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember seeing the picture, and no, Cabo was absolutely, going through those pictures and reliving those moments was special. And then coming back, not just really like changing for our business mindset was some of my biggest takeaways. And just to be able to not just listen, but to be with a company that one minute you're sitting in the dining hall with the CEO, and the next minute you're in the pool playing pool volleyball with the president, and you're playing pool volleyball with the vice president, and you're having a beer with another significant leader. And most corporations, there's such a separation between leadership and the agents. And so it was awesome. I had a great time in Cabo. So I'm so excited that we were able to go.
Well, I think it ties into, right, the title that we have here, right? Relationships matter, communities matter. And why are a bunch of real estate agents going to Cabo, right? But the truth of the matter is Kevin, you have built an amazing real estate business in the area of Lake Nona. And you are known for being that guy in the community, a pillar in the community, former educator, supporting schools, supporting causes, but supporting local leaders. The politicians call you, business owners call you. If you want to get something done in this town, you call Kevin Kendrick. When I moved into town to this new area, the first person I called was you guys. I was like, hey, can I be a part of your page? Can you call me? Can I call you if I have any questions? But it really does, kind of summarize where we're going to kind of take a lot of this is relationships do matter. And whether you are at the corporate level, whether you are at the CEO level, you hear that saying, my mom always taught me to treat the CEO and the janitor the same, right? I think that's what you probably experienced when you went to our Cabo Mastermind, right? Everybody, you would never know that you're sitting next to a billionaire, a millionaire, or who's that guy that you had posted about that at 18 years old,
A boss. Yeah. What an amazing, amazing story of a kid who grew up in Iraq, sleeping on a concrete floor, making cold calls at 18 years old in a bathroom, doesn't make a single transaction his entire first year in real estate. And now he owns like 250 rental properties, and he's 26 years old. Like that dude, like, I'm like, you're coming to Orlando. You need to be in Orlando and you need to speak to real estate agents. And he and I were just texting last night and this morning. So we've stayed in touch, and I hope to continue to learn to grow from him, or grow and learn from him.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. It's like, okay, so like we talk about communities matter in our community as real estate agents, but the company we get to work for,
Mm,
as well as we all start as leaders, brought our business. We had this crazy idea of bringing our business together, but reality is like, you know, Glenn Sanford sits next to you and comes around. I don't know. He's kind of, maybe someone called him like the Bill Gates of real estate,
mm,
right? When he was on stage, as brilliant as he is. And he comes and brings his tray and says, "Can I sit next to you guys?" Like the guy
mm,
cares about relationships, right? He doesn't think he's above anybody. And you have become, someone that's pretty important in our community. And, you're as humble and as
mm,
welcoming as they come. I mean, hey, I will say when you need to get feisty, we get feisty, right? If we have to,
mm,
right? But it's really awesome to know that we are in an era where people value relationships a lot more.
mm,
And I'm glad to see that happening, not only in our company, but in general
mm.
in business.
Well, I think it's easier to for real estate agents. It's easier for us to work with the other person on the other side when we have a relationship, a standing relationship with that other agent. And today we listed a home, got a phone call from an agent that I've co-broked with many a times, and it's like he's like, "Hey, what do I got to do to get this done?" And it's always good to have that. When once you have that rapport and that relationship with somebody, that you can do that. Kind of you were talking about when you came to Lake Nona. I remember the day you lost your dog.
Mm.
And before you did anything, you called me and you're like, "Kevin, I lost my dog. What do I do?" And I live 3 neighborhoods away from you. And, and I remember that. But I was like, well, put it on this page. And literally, we tracked down your dog, and that we found out that it was someone that I knew. And I'm like, I think I group texted the two of you so you could go get your dog back. And and that's the neat thing about our Lake Nona community is everyone's connected. It's like that Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation. We're all connected somehow in Lake Nona.
Yeah, we are. And you built a page, Narcoosee News. And
Mhm.
I totally messed this up today. I didn't do like his amazing bio because I feel like everybody already knows Kevin, but apparently I forgot I have to follow the script. And I said we weren't going to follow the script. But Kevin runs an amazing team in the area of Lake Nona, where I live. Is one of the most popular areas in Orlando, Central Florida. And I want to say, it's pretty much a destination where people from all over the country and the world are now
Mhm.
recognizing. Disney is moving their headquarters here.
Mhm.
You are actually a preferred partner for Disney for their
Mhm.
relocation program. So Kevin knows his stuff, guys. But before all of that, he's a father. He's an amazing local leader. He's just like I said, a former educator, and built his. He had to be scrappy. He had to build his business from
Mhm.
scratch too. Didn't really know anyone. Didn't had to come in. There's a real estate agent on every corner, right?
Mhm.
And you have to be different. You chose the relationship route. You chose the community route. You chose the education, being involved, being in the
Mhm.
trenches. And Lake Nona became your one thing, right? North Lake Park became your one thing. Like this
Mhm.
is your area of farming, and you guys did a really great job, but you farmed relationships. So you started this page,
Mhm.
Narcoosee News. It has how many people do you guys have now?
Probably just over 14,000.
14,000. I
And
moved here.
yeah.
I'm a real estate agent, and the first thing I did was go and try to become, a member of your page. And I didn't know
Mhm.
what kind of person you were. I'll be
Mhm.
honest. I didn't know like if you were going to be one of those. It's a competitor. Why am I going to let her in my
Right.
private community group, right? Because some people, it's okay. That's their rules. You play by their
Mhm.
rules. And I humbly came into your community, and I'm like, hey, we know of each other. Fist pump. We're cool. But I was the East Side girl. I was the Avalon Park girl, right?
Yeah.
You had a listing in Avalon Park, you're probably going to run a trip over a couple of my signs. But in Lake Nona, I was entering your hood, and I remember I called you very humbly. I was like, Kevin, can we be friends?
Well, it's funny. I actually remember that the when you moved, and for the page for those watching, you build community pages, and this is a true community page. I don't promote my business on that page, but we promote other businesses, and so everyone's welcome as long as you just don't try to promote your business. Uh, but I think when you moved to Lake Nona and word got out that you moved to Lake Nona, a lot of real estate agents were like, "Oh my God, here comes Veronica Figueroa. What are we going to do?" And you and Yvette went to for coffee or dinner one night, and the two of y'all, when Yvette came back, Yvette's like, "Oh my God, I had so much fun. Y'all spent like 4 hours together." And then we double dated with you and Tony, and that was really the first time I met Tony. And But that just started a time where we just started just continuing to double date. We felt like not only you're the driver in your business, I'm the driver in mine. Obviously, you and Yvette have being Puerto Rican and mamas in common, and Tony and I have a lot of stuff in common. So it was really a natural relationship as far as I was concerned. So we always enjoyed hanging out with you. So it was interesting to see that picture popped up yesterday or the day before that we celebrated our 1 year of double dating.
Oh, yeah, and it was so funny because it was like Veronica's coming to Lake Nona, and whatever people thought. I was like, I'm just trying to make friends here. Right? I'm the new kid on the block here, and you guys were just so amazing, and I felt
Mhm.
super welcome. And I actually, it's funny because obviously Peter Lou, we joke around with that. I was like, Peter, Kevin. I mean, I've been on 2 double dates with Kevin, and I know
Mhm.
ever you ain't even came by to offer me a piece of pie.
I
I was
know Peter lives down the street from you, so it's not like he didn't come with the welcome basket. Like, hey, welcome to my community. We're neighbors now. He didn't even do that. He didn't even wear the fancy suit with the shorts. So so in fact, I even told him one day, I was like, Veronica mentioned you ain't even reach out to her. You might want to get on the ball. So
I'm gonna start sending mailers to his street, right? I was just gonna do
yes.
to pick on him. No, it's been so much fun, and I'm very grateful, and I think I've thanked you and Yvette many, many times for just making us feel welcome.
Mhm.
And yes, we talked about when my daughter did lose. It was actually my daughter's dog,
Mhm.
um, and I was like, oh my god, my daughter was on a plane, and I was like, I gotta find this dog before
Mhm.
she lands. And it was one of the scariest things, as a family. Our pets are important to us, and you
Mhm.
stop when the world pauses, when you're going through stuff like that. You
Mhm.
don't know what to do, and you were the very first person I called, so thank you for making
Oh,
time.
I would have freaked out too. I've got two dogs myself, and that's my biggest fear because they're both runners, and I can't catch up with them. So
All right, so we built this company. You
mhm.
got into real estate, former educator. You came in, you were just great overnight, right? That's how it happened.
Yeah, just bam overnight. So no, so when I joined Keller Williams, when I was in Lake Nona from like 2009. Really, I moved here in like 2007, 2008. But I got licensed in 2010, but I was still a full-time teacher working for Orange County Public Schools. And I would see Keller Williams signs on every street corner, just the people that were with KW in the community. I mean, KW dominated Narcousie Road.
Mm,
And so when I felt like I made a switch to Florida Virtual where I was working from home. And I was like, well, I think I can do more real estate working virtually, but I think I need to join a big company. I need a name brand. So I went to Keller Williams, and it was actually the perfect time because that's about the same time Peter joined. I went through the Ignite program. Jorge Figueroa was my Ignite coach, and they talked about everything to do as far as calling and for sale by owners and expireds. And so I did all that, and I realized that's not my thing. My thing is face to face. I like to talk to people. I like to break bread with people. And so, you hear about farming, but real estate farming, most people associate it with mailers, door hangers,
right.
and things like that. So I was just like, I would do Yvette, and I said, look, can I take $500? Can I buy an outdoor movie projector? Can I buy an outdoor movie screen? And I'm going to invite our neighborhood to go watch a movie. And I already had the speakers. So we did. I got a few of my vendors because I was only selling maybe 2 homes a year, three homes a year at that point. So some of my trusted friends slash partners, everyone chipped in $50 each. We popped popcorn. Yvette popped like 50 bags of popcorn in the microwave. We thought our microwave was going to blow up. And our first movie was at 6:30 because this is when it gets dark. This is October. And at like 6:25, there was like one family there. And I'm like, man, this stinks. This is a bomb. And then there's like a commercial, like at 6:28. It's like they're all coming over the hill, coming to the movie theater to the movie. And we probably had about 100 families. So 100,
Wow.
maybe 75 families, 75 times two, 75 times three. I mean, we had a good crowd. And we did that for 3 months in a row. I captured information. I called, stayed in touch. And after 3 months, and this is October, November, and December of 2015. Not one person called me to sell a home or buy a home. In fact, I was ready to give up. I said, you know what? We're done. Not going to do it. We did it in January. We'll say we'll do it one more time. We did it one more time in January. I got my first listing in North Lake Park. In February, I got 3 more listings. And then realistically, just fast forward in 2000, since 2016, for our specific neighborhood of North Lake Park at Lake Nona, which is 1,200 plus homes, we've sold more homes than anyone in the last, what, 5, 6, 7 years. And then we've just expanded that to Lake Nona as a whole. So historically, on paper, depending on who you ask, transactions and volume wise, we've always been number 2 or number 3 for our 2 zip codes. Last year, I think we were number 1 in transactions, and either Peter or Deanna Armel beat us in volume. But God's been good. We've just continued to farm. We farm people because we farm that relationship aspect. We farm the businesses. We farm the schools. It's neat to do. Like, so when we shoot this video, 2 days ago, I was interviewing Jim Gray, our city council member, and he meets with me once a month. And he kind of gives like a state of the state, and I'm doing your role. I'm asking questions. And it's flattering that he does that, because there's a trust factor that he doesn't feel like I'm going to throw him a curveball and try to make him look bad. I don't want to make him look bad. I want him to share with our community what's on his agenda.
Yeah.
And but between what we've done with the schools and our neighborhoods, I mean, we did a Christmas parade this past year. We had Santa Claus come. I mean, that was pretty cool. And the Chick-fil-A cow. But being able to partner with businesses is really cool, because then you go into these businesses and, whether it's asking for free stuff, or maybe where we do our Lake Nona Realtor Masterminds is, hey, can we use your restaurant because you don't even serve lunch till 11. We just want to use it from 9:30 to 10:55. And maybe everyone will stick around for drinks and food, which they do. So that's how farming started. And in 2016, my first full year in real estate, we sold about $9 million worth of real estate. And this past year, we sold just over 72 million.
That's so cool. Well, congratulations. And I'm so proud, obviously, to call you guys friends. I'm inspired by you guys. I have the blessing as well that I get to farm people. I get to be in business with great people, build relationships. And, I was always I've been blessed to have great mentors. And one of the things that they said to me was like, who are the people that you aspire to be in business with? And you guys were obviously a name that came up. I was like, they just do good business, they just do good business. You feel like I always want to learn from people, like people
Right.
that I think have cracked the code, or maybe like are doing something way better than I am. And I'll be the first one to be like, oh, that's so cool. Like this is what I'm doing. I'm going to share what I'm doing, but I love that you guys are doing this. And, I'll take a little bit there and a little there, and hopefully I can bless someone forward with that. And it's just pretty awesome that no matter where you're at in your business, relationships are going to matter. Here you are interviewing the city council member. Here's the CEO of our company sitting there next to you and wanting to build a relationship with you guys, at the food hall, right? Here we are, traveling around the world together. And I think at the center of it, you had said it earlier, the core values of your guys' team is heart, purpose, passion, or heart,
purpose, passion. That's
it, right?
Yeah. And, that's, and ironically, that's always kind of been Yvette's mantra. And that's what she's kind of wanted to bestow. And sometimes, God speaks to us at different times. So, those 3 words were revealed to Yvette maybe 3 years ago. And she's always had a heart for women and for women's ministry. And, when we came back from Cabo, she's like, just listen to me. She put the hand up. Just listen to me. Don't talk. Just listen. Because we've made the change to EXP, we've brought new people onto the team, and she's like, I believe our core values is heart, purpose, passion. And she was probably expecting me to put up the dukes and defend it and say, no, we need to stick with our 6 or 5, whatever we have. And I was just like, okay, and she's like, you don't have anything else to say? And I'm like, no, I agree. So
that's so beautiful. Sorry to interrupt you, but this isn't an EXP thing, right? She did that 3 years ago, and you have been, and I'm going to take you a little further back pre-real estate. You grew up here in Orlando. You taught here. You were, like right outside of Lake Nona before Lake Nona was ever Lake Nona, right? Meadowwoods, you taught there. You would tell me stories of some of these students that, you pretty much watch grow up, maybe not on the best side of town or didn't have all the resources. And, you were like, Veronica, I really wish I had some rock star drugs, like trauma type of story that I could
Mhm.
tell you. He says, but I lived through watching other people, and
Mm,
we were the house that brought people in. We were the ones that kind of like brought these families in. So I think heart, purpose, passion was always
mm,
there within you and your core values, right? Yvette was just the visionary who saw it and was able to
mm.
put it into words, and then finally had the courage, right? Or the belief or the confidence to say, well, why are we trying to overthink this? This is who we are.
Right.
Well, taking you back to, and again, we can touch base on that in a second because I think it's a beautiful story, and I think it's part of the story. This is not just about real estate. How you and your family made such an impact on these young men's lives, and to some have become very successful. What I think you got
Mhm.
a couple driving some big fancy Lamborghini, not big because they're not big, but Lamborghinis and big houses here that you're like, man, that kid, like I remember that kid.
You've
Like,
got, let me tell you what, if you're driving through Laureate Park and you see an orange Lamborghini with a dude in dreadlocks, and probably someone would probably say, oh, he's a drug dealer. Because sadly, that's the perception when they see, or he's an athlete, one
right.
of the two.
What are the two things?
But Jermaine has built a credit repair business that's now national. And he lives in a $1.5 million home, driving a $250,000 car. He could live anywhere in the world he wants. But the interesting thing is, he grew up off of Oak Ridge Road to a single mom. And you know what? He said, I want more out of life than this. And, part of my story is I grew up off of Oak Ridge Road. And so when I started teaching and I went to teach at Westridge Middle School, which was off of Oak Ridge Road, uh, I felt at home because, the kids would be like, well, I went to Sadler Elementary School. You don't know what that's like. And I'm like, actually, I do, because that's where I went to. And I grew up off of those streets. And so but it's been a blessing. It's a blessing to see people, whether it's kids growing up in the inner city or even kids in, everyone's got issues in some capacity. So even kids in Lake Nona
Mm.
have issues in some capacity. And we can't control what everyone does, but we can give them options. We can give them opportunity, and it's up to them to make that decision.
It's interesting how you are so connected to the kids and the schools, and I know that um, it's. I have to take this here. When you guys announced that you guys were sponsoring, I think it was the high school football team, right? Um, yeah, there you
Lake
go.
Nona Lion,
Yeah,
yes.
right. So it's so funny because I said something to you. I think I had invited you guys to like a soccer game or something, and you were
Mm,
like, we may not be the Orlando City soccer sponsors, but we the Lake Nona Lions sponsor.
that's
And I was
right.
like, that sounds really cool. Like, that's a really big deal. Like, I mean, but
Mm,
you guys take so much pride in what you do for these schools
mm,
and how you are committed to the teachers and the students, and you go out there and you're involved. This is what I
mm,
want agents to hear and people to listen to. Like, this isn't just sticking your logo on something. You guys are truly, truly committed. You shake hands, you kiss babies,
mm,
you get involved. You've been doing that for based on what I just heard, ever since you were, in the education system, right? It's
mm,
just because of how you were, how you're wired. You're just a kind person and want to give back. But like, that's a big principle. A lot of agents will ask, oh my God, how'd you do it? In Lake Nona, obviously we don't have that reputation, but in Avalon Park, when we obviously started farming and doing everything, like, man, we were pumpkin patching. We were like every 5K at 5 o'clock in the morning because we didn't have the budget to pay someone. We're out there blowing up balloons and we didn't even have the machine to do so. My
mm,
husband used to get mad at me. He's like, all right, when are we gonna like stop doing this and maybe outsource this because it's getting
yeah.
hard. And I enjoyed every aspect of being the one tying the balloons and walking it across the archway, and people saw that in us.
Mm,
And we'd get a local kid to dress up as Spider-Man and run at the 5K, at the firecracker run, or if they were dressing up as a turkey, we'd make sure that they made a little bit of money so that they could, maybe buy themselves some Christmas gifts for their family. But
mm,
like, it's those little things that I think when people think, well, I'm just going to rip off and duplicate and do what they do. If you're doing it one time, you're not going to win. And number two, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons,
yeah.
it's never going to stick. This is like, I feel what you and Yvette do and what Richard and all, your team and what you guys,
Right.
it's just different. And it's
But I think one thing to your point, uh, for anyone that's watching and you're like, well, I want to do what Kevin does, or I want to do what Veronica does. I always go back to when I teach classes on farming. I always go back to to the metronome, when you're playing piano, and all it does is it tick tock, tick tock. And it's extremely boring, but it's consistent. And that's
Yep.
how farming and that's how real estate is. You have to be consistent, because when someone says, well, I did what you did for 2 months and it didn't work. Well, I did it for 3 months and it didn't work. And you know what? It's tick tock. You just have to keep doing it. And, we put out, gosh, probably close to 4,000 American flags the week leading up to 4th of July.
Yep.
And when someone says, well, who all did you pay to get out the flags? Now, keep in mind, we sold $72 million worth of real estate last year. I got my butt up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a wagon, and I walked anywhere between 35 and 50,000 steps every single day for 4 or 5 days. And I put flags out I didn't outsource it. I enjoyed doing it. I did outsource putting the door hangers on so people knew where the American flags were coming from. But, it's about when someone says, I want what you have, and I say, oh, cool, are you willing to pay the price to do what I had to do to get here? And because to your point, you were up at 5 o'clock in the morning blowing up balloons. Well, Yvette on a Friday was popping 50 bags of popcorn in the microwave, think we were going to burn our house down, because we burned a few bags too. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's consistency, doing it over time. And someone will say, well, I can't do what you do. And I actually say, you know what? In 2015, no one in real estate in Lake Nona knew who Kevin Kendrick, Peter Lou, or Kathy Hereford were.
Yeah.
Nobody did. But the top 3 agents that were in Lake Nona from 2001, whatever, to 2015, they've been replaced. And just as quickly as they got replaced, Kevin, Peter, and Kathy can get replaced, because, there's other people that have stepped up. I mean, I've known Deanna Armel for 5, 6, 7 years, and I did not know she averaged over $1 million per sale last year.
Yeah.
I looked at her numbers. I was like, dang, that girl, she sold $70 million on her own last year. And on average, it was $1 million plus.
Oh,
I did not know that.
And she'll say, and she will vocally say that she did it on her own. I don't even think she has an assistant, and she is a guru in golf courses, by the way.
I
have so much respect for her. So much respect for her.
I love when I bump into her, because I'll see her, and she gets up early like me. So sometimes we'll text at like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. And no, but the point of that is, even 5, maybe 7 years ago, not many people necessarily knew Deanna. And so anyone can take anyone's place. Anyone can step up. And when people become complacent, that's when they lose it. And that's the one thing when we would say pre-COVID, Yvette would say, do you think we can take this month off? And I would always, at that point, I'm like, no, we're not taking a month off. And now that COVID's, we know COVID's still around, but no one talks about it anymore because we have a war in Ukraine and Russia. And so now it's like, okay, cool. What are we going to do to get back in front of our communities, our specific communities, not just the larger community as a whole?
It's really interesting that you touch base on that. Like, and this isn't about, operating from a place of fear. It's operating from a place of relevancy. It's a consistency, right? Making sure that the message also that you're putting out to the community matters, because, you did something not too long ago. You brought that really cool car that operates, what was it called? I was like, I want one of those, right?
Oh, the Arcimoto, the 3-wheel electric.
Yes. I still want one of those. I'm still waiting for you to put me in contact with the guy. I don't even know what.
I'll group text you, because he's going to be selling his house soon, and I'll group text you after we sign the listing agreement.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I think, well, you said relevancy, right? Staying consistent, being true to why you're doing it. You can't just do it for a one-hit wonder. But I think John, obviously, I think you've met John a couple of times, my coach. You also meet the market, right? The message meets the market. You're not just doing the outdated same thing over and over again, but you're also not trying to find the shiny object, but you're so in tune with what's going on around here. You heard him earlier say he interviews the city council. He's involved with the schools. He knows what's going to be happening, what's going to be developing in the area. If a new business is coming up, you're the first one interviewing them.
Mm,
So I think it's not what us realtors want to hear ourselves say. It's get really, really entrenched in your community, know what's coming in your community,
mhm,
and you be the resource, be the expert to bring that information forward. And it's okay if someone else already said it.
mm.
You're now the deliverer of the message with your flair, right? And with your energy. And I want people to not think, well, like Kevin did it, well, I can't do it. No, you know what? There's plenty of opportunities out
And
here.
there's enough business for it. I mean, we're
Yes.
building community, not competition. So there's enough business for everybody. But the interesting thing is in 2019, I went to family reunion and I heard Gary Keller say two things multiple times. He mentioned EXP a lot, which I didn't know anything about EXP at the time. By hindsight, I remember that conference very well for that. And you mentioned the hyper local expert, and we always felt like we were the Lake Nona go-to expert, but I never really heard that term. And I've really embraced that term, that if you're going to open up a business, I mean, Veronica, it's amazing that, election season's rolling around and, people that are running for Congress and for county commission, they're like, we want to sit down with you. We want to, and that's extremely flattering. I mean, it's like, why do you want to meet with me? And I know that they know that we have a platform,
Right.
that an endorsement, a picture with them or with us would mean, hey, Kevin's endorsing. So we also learned the power of the word endorsement, and we're very careful about, who we endorse. But being using that term hyper local expert is really what we want to become and strive to be. So even to your point, if someone says, well, we already found out about XYZ, why is Kevin mentioning it again? Because I need everyone who's either a friend of mine or a follower of mine or whatever, they need to know that I'm out there pushing it too.
Yes.
And so there's no fake it till you make it, but it's okay to duplicate what other people are doing, and go out there and be creative, think outside the box. Every single thing that I see, it's my mind, Yvette will tell you, like every single thing that I see as I'm walking around, I'm like, oh my God, we can tap into it. We can do that on a postcard. We can do this at an event. We can do like a water bottle. I'm like, oh my gosh, a water bottle. Oh, we should do a squirt gun fight with all the kids in the neighborhood. Just something simple can be taken and do a community event and bring people together.
I just wanted to throw a party at Boxy Park because I just knew, like Kevin and Peter own this area. I was like, I just want to have one time throw a party at Boxy Park. And I threw one, and now you're like, V, I'm throwing a party at Boxy Park. I was like, you better. I was like, or let's do a banger together.
Well, you know what stuck about the party at Boxy Park is we bought tickets, and those were the days that we got our COVID shots, and we were both sick, so we couldn't go that night because that was the ugly sweater party.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
So,
fun.
and
It
I
was.
hate that we missed it.
You know what? We're gonna have more, and actually, the next one probably gonna be yours, and we'll be at yours.
There we
But you know
go.
what, Kevin? I mean, obviously, this is so much fun. I could speak with you for hours, so we're definitely gonna have to bring you back, and we'll talk so much more about other things that are equally important. And
Mm,
this was I got chills just thinking about it because, like I said, it's just airy, it's flow, and I personally feel like agents who listen to this and anybody who listens to this, can truly take something away from it. Becoming that hyper, local agent, getting involved with your community so deep that politicians are calling you, not because
mm,
you have some air or arrogance, it's because you just care.
mm,
And they know that you're going to be able to get the message out there. And when something matters, if you believe in it, if it's aligned with your
mm,
values, and of course your guys' core values, heart, purpose, passion, it's felt.
mm,
I just want anyone who's listening, get out there. You have an opportunity to build something rooted in the community where relationships truly, truly matter. You are a rock star, as in your community. You just don't know it sometimes.
mm,
And it takes maybe hearing it from someone like Kevin, or seeing someone like him share his story, that's just going to get you inspired
mm,
to go out there and start being that neighborhood expert in your market. And I
mhm,
challenge everyone in this challenging market to get very, very, very serious about it. Get committed. You won't be replaced if you do
mm.
things that are deeply rooted in the community, and that is about the people and bringing value to your community.
Yep.
And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, my dear
Yep.
friend.
Well,
And
thank you for having me.
And this relationship matters so much to me. Send a big hug to Yvette, to me, and I'll see you on our next double date.
Awesome. Sounds good.